There was somebody that, we thought maybe we were overlooking a little bit here when we talk about the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, there was. Okay, let's get to that. Let's talk to Matt first. 916-909-1320. What's up, Matt?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for taking the phone call.
No problem, man. How you doing?
Good. How about you guys?
Good, ready to rock.
Yes, sir. Look, I'm just seeing just all the alerts like on Twitter. It's all Twitter rumor, but like the Kings are looking at Bradley Beal. They're going hard after OG, like y'all reported. I saw some stuff this morning that they're looking at OG and Siakam now, and then just an hour ago looking at Tobias Harris, like their suitor. I mean, there's just seems so many reports. Like the Kings can't just we can bring back Harrison Barnes and then run it back with Sasha, like add him, but it just seems like there's too many reports that like they got to do something. Like I feel like something's gonna happen. I don't know what it is, but something's gonna happen.
Well, and I got you. I'll say this. I think I can speak for both. I don't know nothing about Siakam. I haven't heard that. I mean, I saw what everybody else saw. I don't know nothing about Tobias Harris. I do know OG. I think OG was real. I don't know if it is now. I think there'll be some stuff that's reported when it's time for it to be reported that will make some sense. But I don't know where that stuff with OG stands. We followed up on a couple of things yesterday that make me believe there are still conversations going on. But we're chasing our tails trying to figure this stuff out. And that's all we are it's just our tail because we can't get a response from some people.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't, Matt, I wouldn't put too much stock into any of it. Even the stuff we reported, the Kings are aggressively going after OG. It doesn't mean they're going to get him. It doesn't, the reports out there about Siakam, it doesn't mean they're going to get him. Tobias Harris, it doesn't mean they're going to get him. The Lakers can want Buddy Hield all they want to. It's just reporting, it's talking, it's news getting out, it's narratives, it's ideas, it's agendas, it's all of that.
Yeah.
And I would I would think about Harrison Barnes being back here. I think about that, the addition of Sasha, what they do at the draft, and then I still believe Monty can. Maybe it's not the splashy move that everybody has hoped for. Maybe it's not some of these deals that have been rumored, but I still think Monty can get the job done this offseason.
I do too. Do you think that, and Matt kind of talked about it, do you think that it would be a failure in a lot of people's eyes if they just brought back Harrison Barnes?
In a lot of people's eyes, yes, I think that would be the case.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's fair.
I don't either. And I don't even agree with that.
Yeah.
It's not a failure at all. Jesse, what you think?
I'm fine with Barnes being back this season and all that, but my biggest issue is I don't want Barnes on this team 3 years from now or 4 years from now. Dude's going to be 34, 35.
Yeah.
He's going to take a dip. That just happens to NBA players. He's going to take a dip. Maybe the next couple of years he's fine, but like I said, years 3 and 4, that's not going to help the Kings.
Yeah.
I think whatever is out there right now, I think whatever approach the Kings are going to take with Harrison is probably a 3-year deal. And that puts him at 34? I think I'm okay with that. Harrison Barnes, I don't think I'm okay. I am okay with it. It's 34. He's 34 years old. So Paul George is 33.
Right. 3-year deal's fine. 4-year, it sounds crazy because it's 1 more year, but I'm like, I don't know. I might even give you a little more money to keep you out of that.
And that might be the case. We've speculated on what this contract will look like, long before the season ends. I really think we're looking at something at we're looking at something at 3 years in the area of $60 million. And I don't know if that's 58 million, 57 million, 60. I don't think it's higher than 60. I don't think it's higher than 60. So I'll put the cap there. I'll say I think we're looking at something at 3 years, 55 to 60 million.
I agree. That's around the range that I was thinking, 50, 55, 60 million. 3 years, 2 years seems like a little too, not what
that
Harrison's
doesn't even feel
for.
productive. Yeah.
And 4 years, I don't think that's what the Kings are looking for. So meet me in the middle.
Yeah.
I I do think that he is like the third best option out there for them right now, though, as far as like that position. If it's not OG, like that would be one on my list. Kuzma's number 2, but if it's not either of those two, then Barnes is the best bet to bring back. I don't want Oubre here, Dylan Brooks. I think that'd be a massive failure.
So that's a great point to bring up, because OG isn't really in the Kings' control. I mean, you can call, you could be aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't matter. I don't think OG is. I really like OG Anunoby. I really like the fit here. But this isn't, this isn't Vito Corleone where you make him an offer he can't refuse. Like that, I don't think you do that.
Right.
And so Jesse said Kyle Kuzma. It's like, all right, cool. Free agency's 8 days away. I believe the Kings know right now whether they have a shot at Kyle Kuzma.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, of course, assuming they even want Kyle Kuzma. But I believe they know right now if they have a shot at him. But that's another one that is a lot out of their control. You can make an offer. Like Kyle Kuzma is going to have offers around the league. I think there are going to be some teams like that are, tooling up on free agents that maybe we didn't expect. But the guy you have the best chance of getting at all of those is Harrison Barnes.
Yeah.
Because he's here. You've been able to talk to him. He's familiar with everything. And I think Harrison's mindset on free agency is very different than Kyle Kuzma's mindset on free agency. And I do wonder if those two guys are in the same ballpark in terms of salaries.
Yeah, and I look at Harrison, and if he came back to the Kings, I've said it a number of different times, I'll say it again, doesn't change my thoughts on what this team could be and what they should be.
Mm-hmm.
This is a team that's 50-plus wins with Harrison Barnes right there. And we always forget, the addition of Sasha, the addition of the draft pick. And if you can bring back Trey Lyles, like another year under Coach Mike Brown, another year in that offensive system and getting to know each other even better, Harrison Barnes don't stop that. Not at all. He helps with that more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think people are like, he stops it or stunts the growth or anything. No, he actually helps with that, in my opinion.
Let's say Keegan takes a jump this season, like that's going to happen or whatever. You think fans and stuff would be more open to bringing Barnes back if Keegan took a jump this season?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
If they knew definitively.
Like if you knew right now
he was
Keegan Murray
12 to 16 points or something.
Because that's kind of where I'm at with it too. Like Casey talked about, I think yesterday, a couple of days before, but I'm fine with Harrison being my 4th or 5th best player. I think the issue is we're looking for the 3rd best player on this team now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a great point, Jesse. If you told Kings fans right now, hey, Keegan Murray's gonna ascend, and he's gonna be that 17-point per game guy, I think people would be much, much happier with the idea of Harrison Barnes. And I think really when you talk about next year, that's really what you should be talking about is continued growth, is growth in Keegan Murray, continued growth in Domantas Sabonis, and as crazy as it might sound, growth in De'Aaron Fox. I think you can get all of that next year. And you mentioned Trey Lyles, talked about Harrison Barnes. You realize we barely reference one of our favorite players on the team? How many times does Terence Davis's name come up in any conversation about free agency?
Rarely, if ever.
And I understand Terence had, DMPs, and he had stretches where he played, stretches where he didn't play. Don't we want Harrison Barnes back here?
Or Terence Davis?
Terence, yeah, I'm so used to saying Harrison Barnes. Don't we want Terence Davis back here?
Absolutely. I think Terence Davis definitely has been overlooked in building this roster back up for next season. Like you said,
I know that's weird because he did. There are just times where he didn't play.
Right. There was stretches of games where he get DMP CDs.
Mm-hmm.
But in the biggest game of their season, in the biggest game this franchise has had in 2 decades, he was in there, he produced, and he helped bring you to Game 7. And I wonder what the market is going to be for Terence Davis. I feel like it's not going to be that robust. I think you need a Terence Davis. I thought he should have played more last year, just in general.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's a guy that you need that can come in and defend and could also score 20 points in a game. Like you're talking about, Terence Davis can easily come into any game at any time and hit for 20. I think if you want to still be dynamic like that on the offensive end, you need guys like that. And who better than a guy that's already been here? Now, I think the biggest question, because I don't know if the money is going to be astronomical for Terence Davis. The question that has to be asked for him and by him is this the role I want again?
Mm.
Am I okay being on a team that I'm familiar with, that I seem to like, that works well for me, even if that means I may go 7 games straight without playing. And then he's going to throw me in there, expecting to perform in that 8th game, and I better not miss a defensive assignment. Or I better make all the shots that I get in this first. Does he want to play in that type of fishbowl under that type of microscope again? I think so. I hope so, but I could understand if he wouldn't.
And the other question Terrence has to ask is there a bigger role out there for me? You talk about, am I okay with this role? It's like, how confident am I that there's a bigger role out there for me in this league? I see Johnny Dewitt says basically fans just want to run it back. Well, Johnny Dewitt, I don't think that's the worst, but I also think with bench guys, you've got to like Terrence isn't a guy who's going to be replaced with, an upper echelon player.
Right.
Like he's going to be replaced by someone else who is in Terence Davis's role.
Right.
So why not just make it Terence Davis?
Right. Same with Davion. Same with Trey Lyles.
That's another guy's growth who we don't talk about. Like, and I know, it's exciting going into your second year, but you brought up Davion.
Mm-hmm. I'm
not of the belief that Davion's done.
I don't think so either.
Like Davion in his 3rd year can't get better?
Yeah, I don't think so either. Sean in the chat says, is Keon Ellis ready to take TD's minutes if he leaves? I'm gonna be interested to see what happens this summer.
Yeah,
because I do think he plays in the summer league. I'm not as quick to just say, "Yo, Keon's ready. Put him in there." I don't. Right now, today, if you had to ask me, I'll get off the fence. I don't think he's ready. I don't think he's ready to play the TD role.
But we don't know, though.
We don't know. I'm just saying, and that's why I want to evaluate.
Like they gotta know.
See.
Like Mike's got to know that. Monty's got to know that. Like they've got to know that.
Yeah. And
hell, Lindsey's got to know that now. Like
right.
they've got to know whether he's ready.
And if I was in their shoes today, I don't think he's ready to do what Terence Davis can do. I don't believe so.
Keon's a defender, right? Like that's one of the big high marks on him is
defender, 3-and-D guy.
Yeah,
he's a little small for that role, but yeah, I'm going back. I'd give Terence that if I could. I'd give him another 2-year deal, maybe with a team option or a player option after next year or something like that.
2-year deal, team or player option.
If he takes a 1-year deal, that'd be fine too. But
that's essentially a
right.
If it's a team option, it's essentially a 1-year deal that they control.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm just broadcast journalist asking questions.
Yeah, now the question is
that really is running it back though. If we're talking Terence Davis, Trey Lyles, that's a lot of it's
running it back, but you're adding 2 to 3 pieces.
You're adding Sasha.
You're adding the
probably.
Rookies.
You're adding the rookie.
Yeah. You're probably moving on from Alex Lynn. You're probably moving on from Metu. Those are 2 guys that played roles on this team, and you're maybe looking to upgrade there.
What do you think happens with Rashaan?
I feel like he's back. I don't know what you're trading him for.
Well, at least Rashaan isn't John Collins, because goodness gracious, this push note. Mavs want Capella number 50. Dallas willing to send number 10 pick to Atlanta. Hawks would prefer to include John Collins in the trade. Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious, man. I don't. You said something the other day about Rashaan and like I don't want this. I don't want Rashaan to become. I don't want John Collins. Where it's just like the Atlanta literally goes to bed and wakes up. How can we get rid of this guy? Obviously, the money is very different between John Collins and Rashaan Holmes, and Atlanta does not want John Collins there. Rashaan, I don't think that's the case here. Obviously, I'm sure the Kings, because they just don't feel like there's a place for him, would love to move on from. I'm sure Rashaan wants to go somewhere where he feels like he's got a home and he can play and not be stuck on the bench when things go wrong or when he misses a defensive assignment or whatever the case may be. But you also posed the question, like, are we sure he can't do it? Are we? And I'm not there yet. I would rather see Rashaan get a run somewhere else. I just don't know what a deal for, like, I don't know what that looks like.
So I think I said this on the show, and I've said it a number of different times. I'm pretty sure. But I would always say, ideally, if you could construct a roster the way you wanted to construct it, Rashaan Holmes is a backup big. I believe I was saying this on the show. And now that's where he's best utilized. I feel like asking him to be a starter for, this really good team is putting a lot on his shoulders. And I just think he's more constructed to be a backup big, somebody who, depending on the situation, maybe can close games out for you, whatever's going on. But you potentially could have that situation where I think he's best utilized. That's his best role. Like, if you said, where could we get the most out of Rashaan Holmes? Does anybody here in these studios or in the chat say, for anybody in the league, for like any team in the league, starting center is where Rashaan Holmes should be? I don't think so.
No.
He shouldn't be a starting center, but I don't think he should be the backup center here either. I think
why not?
The last 2 years, we know not last season, but the year before that, he had a bunch of issues outside of basketball or whatever he was dealing with. Last year, he didn't really do anything. If you bring him in this year as your backup big, and you see from the start of the season it's not working, then you still have an issue at the backup big. I don't think the Kings can go in waiting for guys to like see, if they can be what we want them to be or something like that. You got to go into the season, I think, with what you know already.
True. I understand that. I don't put as much stock into the backup big thing either, though. Like, I ain't worried about that. Like, you try it with Rashaan, you try it for 20 games. If it doesn't work, you try Kada, or you move on. You get, Dwight Howard wants to come here. You know what I mean? Like that.
Tried that last year.
That could be fixed throughout the season, I think. But I
still don't think that backup five is a problem.
No.
You still don't believe in our Lord and Savior Mason Plumlee, huh?
Would
have saved everything.
It would have saved and changed everything.
Harrison Schott would have gone in if Mason Plumlee was here. I understand your point. And I feel like this has become a point of, like, this agitates you.
What?
The talk of the backup five.
It don't agitate me.
Nothing agitates you.
I don't. It just doesn't carry as much weight with me, because that person, at least last year, maybe minute stuff changes this year, but that person was playing 10 minutes a night.
But so were they playing?
And he wasn't playing at the end of the games.
Were they? So I don't think that's ever a question. But were they playing 10 minutes a night because they didn't have any other choice?
I don't know. I know how things go with regular season and playoffs and stuff like that. And that was a lot of the discussion, right? People would be like, "Yeah, you can get away with it now, but in the playoffs, you're gonna need." I was like, "No, he's gonna play like 7 minutes in the playoffs. Like, Sabonis is playing 40 minutes a night." But that could have been the case, right? Like, maybe you could conserve Sabonis a little bit more if you had a guy at the 5 that you trusted a little bit more.
But isn't it also the ability to just throw something different at someone? Like, not to keep harping on Kevon Looney, but you just throw something different at Kevon Looney. Like,
I mean, seemed like they had that, because when they finally played Alex Lynn, he was just fine. And for whatever reason, they didn't play him all year.
All right, well, fire Mike Brown then. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's Mike Brown's fault. I told y'all Mike wasn't the right coach for this team. Why'd Mike Brown get fired? Didn't play Alex Lynn. What you want to do? Yeah, I know it's such a tough position, like especially for this team. It would be backup point guard and backup center, because those 2 all-stars, those 2 all-NBA guys are going to play a ton of minutes. What I would like to see in a backup center for Sacramento is something that's different than Domas. Right? Because if there was ever a situation, and maybe Golden State was one of them, if there was ever a situation where they had to both be on the floor at the same time, like it could work because they're different. Now, I know that's fantasy booking, right? That's fantasy general manager. That's building a fan. Like, that's not like, it's easier said than done. Like, there's not a lot of reality in that. If you could pull it off, great. But it's not like you could just go, oh, this guy fits perfect with the team, so let's get him. No, it's more complicated than that. But that's what I'd like to see in the position. But the proper follow-up question would be, well, who's that? I don't know. I have no idea. That's Monty's job.